Greetings, everybody. Wolfie here. I'm just on my way to Melbourne, Florida, just to return a computer I was repairing for a friend of mine, and got a bit of a drive ahead of me, so I figured I'd blather on a little bit about nothing in particular. That's not true, actually. I wanted to talk about something that happened to me, not to me, but happened. I think this was, about 2 or 3 weeks ago now. I've wanted to write about this or make a video and talk about it in some fashion for a while, but I keep forgetting about it, or I keep managing not to collect my thoughts, so it's taken a while, but I think I've got a good idea what I want to say about this now. So I was with my girlfriend at a Moe's Southern Grill. I think that's the name of the place. It's just a Chipotle competitor type thing. They do lots of burritos, tortillas, quesadillas, Mexican food, basically. Mexican cuisine. And we were standing in line, essentially minding our own business, although the fact that I was eavesdropping kind of reveals that I wasn't minding my own business. When I noticed that the people in front of us were talking rather loudly about how people who live in America should learn to speak American if they expect to get jobs here, and comparing that if you go to another country, they expect you to learn their language if you want to hold a job there too. And it was a family of, the three of them that were oldest were probably in their 50s or 60s. I think their son was with them, who was oddly silent throughout this whole thing, which kind of impressed me. But for whatever reason, I was just not in the best mood in the first place, and what these people were saying to each other was just hate-driven bullshit, and I told them that. I think my exact words were to the effect of, I can't believe it's still possible to hear this kind of bullshit in public. And of course that stopped their conversation in its tracks, and immediately the oldest turned around and said, yeah, it's free speech, isn't it great? And I won't bother relaying the entire back and forth of it, because it's been weeks and I don't remember the exact words anyway anymore. I did counter that, of course, by pointing out that the First Amendment lets you speak like a bigot, and it also lets me tell you that. But there were some major points about this that I wanted to talk about anyway. And the first, of course, is that whole you got to speak American if you're going to work in America kind of thing. It always pisses me off when I hear that crap. And the second was the defense that this man jumped to just as soon as he possibly could. And I don't know what possesses people to do this, but we need to figure out a way to make it stop. And I think what I did is a step in the right direction in helping to put a stop to this kind of nonsense. But anyway, his defense, or what he did, was he kind of leapt to the offensive. The best defense is a good offense, I guess. And he said, have you served your country? Now, I have some objections about this, obviously. The first is, what the hell does it matter? And the second is, of course, I have. My family has paid a significant price in blood and time to the United States, and like my father's said several times, we have paid enough. We're officially entitled to whatever opinions and behaviors that any veteran is entitled to, although that's kind of getting back to my first point. And that is, what is it about service in the military that makes participants decide that they are more entitled to their opinion than people who haven't? His implication, of course, this guy's, was that because I've never picked up a gun and carried it under the United States flag in a foreign country and been shot at, presumably my opinion doesn't matter and I should just shut up and be a good little civilian. Naturally, my first inclination is to say, fuck everything about that, because it's complete horseshit. Americans are born with their freedoms and rights. You do not have to be a military conscript to earn citizenship. And it really bothers me whenever somebody busts out that chestnut. So I dove straight in and let the guy have it. He didn't have a very good afternoon. Because I didn't really let any of his nonsense slide. Of course, I told him, or reminded him, that America doesn't actually have an official language. The official language of the United States is nothing. We have a de facto standard language of English because the majority of Americans speak it. There are nationalized or natural-born citizens who don't speak a word of English, and that's not against the law. There is no law proscribing a national language. We don't have one. And, the guy didn't like hearing that he was being bigoted and racist. No one ever does. When you challenge somebody like that, they get really huffy because they want to hate who they want to hate without anybody bothering them about it. How dare you? How dare you tell the public how much you hate somebody? I freaking hate you, so we're even. But yeah, what really pissed me off there was just that immediate defense, that immediate leap to, well, I served in the military, so blah, blah, blah. What, you're allowed to hate people more than I am? You're allowed to be a bigot where I'm not? And I'm not saying I want to be a bigot, I don't, but what is that entitlement about? It doesn't make any damn sense to me. And, rightly so. It's not supposed to make sense because it doesn't make sense. It's just an excuse, another excuse to justify hatred and racism and bigotry. Now, I think when I say that by confronting this guy, I did something good for the world, I really do believe that the only way we're going to make any improvement in all of these hate-driven debates, like people that oppose gay marriage and people who are against abortion, people who want to ban or severely curtail women's access to birth control and contraception, people who hate other skin colors, or people who speak different languages, all of this. The only way to actually get anywhere and get rid of some of that crap is to publicly and openly call people out for it. Individually, one-on-one, when there's not an audience. Or better, and if there is an audience, so much the better. And I'll get to that good bit here in a second. There was actually a bit of a funny bit related to where we were when we had this argument. But, telling these people to their face that they're wrong. It's wrong to hate people like that. It's wrong to be a bigot like that. It's wrong to discriminate or think less of somebody because they don't speak the same language you do. It's the only way that we're going to teach these old farts that the behavior is unacceptable. The younger generations are by and large growing up without so many biases and so many hatreds and bits of bigotry. There's exceptions, of course, but by and large we're getting better. But still, we have to make it clear to everyone that insists on being a racist or a bigot that they're wrong. Plain and simple, it's just not right. There's plenty of reasons to hate somebody that are more legitimate than their skin color. And I hate to say that, but it's true. There's a few people in my life I hate. Not in my life, but in my experience. There's the jackass that owns the company that sued me back in 2007 or 8. They got their asses kicked, but I still hate the asshole. He's still perpetrating his little scam. He's just moved it offshore now. It's funny. They go on cruises in international waters to scam their victims instead of doing it in convention centers now. It's kind of funny. But I hate the guy. I hate him because he's an asshole. I don't hate him because he speaks some language I don't. He doesn't. He speaks English like I do. I don't hate him for being clever enough to come up with a scam. I hate him for being an asshole. I hate him for suing me. I hate him for, getting called out pushing a scam and suing for it instead of taking it like a man. There are, exes in my life, ex-girlfriends and whatever that I'm not too thrilled with either. Got plenty of reason not to like them. But, there's legitimate reasons to dislike people or hate them that don't involve their skin color. That's just stupid. The language they speak, there's no point in hating on that either. I'm not saying we should hate people, and I'm not proud of the fact that there are people I don't like or that I hate, but at least I'm man enough to admit it. I don't know. It just, it rubs me wrong to let people get away with that kind of crap, especially when I can speak up and say, hey, knock it off, you're full of crap. Now, the icing on the cake here was the fact that this guy was saying all this crap in a restaurant that serves Mexican cuisine. The people behind the counter were exclusively Hispanic, and they could hear him saying these things. Needless to say, I probably got a little bit extra steak on my quesadilla than I otherwise might have, because they also overheard me tell this guy off, which kind of makes me proud. I feel like I actually did accomplish something good for the world and did it in front of an audience. The best part was the fact that my girlfriend kind of had to turn her head and do everything in her power to avoid laughing her ass off as I tore this guy a new one. Because she seemed pleased with how I comported myself and how I carried on in the argument. And she was like, oh my God, I was almost dying laughing, and I couldn't even look over at you guys because I was just going to lose it. And I'm kind of proud of that too. It's always good when you can impress your girlfriend, right? But anyway, just wanted to blather about that a little bit. Sorry it took me 12 minutes to get through that point. But yeah, I guess what I'm trying to get across here is don't be afraid to speak up when you hear somebody saying something stupid. Even in public. Even if there's nobody else around to back you up. Even if they've got a group of people and it's just you against a pile of idiots or bigots or whatever it is you're facing. Don't be afraid to tell somebody they're wrong when they're being wrong. You'll make the world a better place, little by little, every time you stand up and do it. And besides, they're strangers. What the hell is the worst that could happen? Some random stranger thinks you're a jerk? Damn. He joins the ranks of quite a few people that think I'm a jerk. Look how much I care. Anyway, we're at 13-minute mark here, so I'm going to cut it off, and stay tuned. Probably the next day or so I'll post another episode of another installment of my X3 Getting Started Guide. Part 13 is on its way up. It's already uploaded and being processed as I post this. But anyway, I think part 14 should be coming up shortly. I'm not too happy with how 13 turned out, so I'm going to make up for it with the next installment. Anyway, thanks for listening to me blather, and stay tuned for more X3 stuff, and if I come up with any more rants like this, I'll record them and post them. Feel free to skip if you don't like it, or thumbs up if you do like it. Comments are always welcome, of course. And until next time, folks, thanks for watching. Wolfie signing out.